said last week, I think, you know, the story of every single piece of creation tells the story of creation, right? Every single piece. If your object of devotion is a leaf or a stone or a piece of driftwood, that story, that being, that continuum, that object tells the story of the whole, and the whole is encapsulated in that object. And this is right central to the story of the hymn of the pearl, which I'm going to tell in a little while here, right? It's that within the specific facet of creation are the keys to the totality, right? When I say it tells the story of creation, I'm not being abstract. I'm saying that, and I know we've talked about this before, but I'm going to say it again, that like, that stone that you have at the center of your shrine, to tell the story, what is the story of that stone? Who is that stone? To tell the story of that stone, you have to tell the story of that mountain. And to tell the story of that mountain, you have to tell the story of that range. And to tell the story of that range, you have to tell the story of tectonic plates moving across the earth over millions of years. And to tell the story of those tectonic plates, you have to tell the story of Earth. The story of Earth, right? Encapsulated in all of our bodies. Each of you is part of the story of Earth. Each of us is part of the story of Earth. We're so convinced that it's our own story. I mean, this is a like microsecond in the story of Earth expressing herself. Each being is a flash in the scintillant story of Earth that unfolds across billions of years, right? And to tell the story of Earth, we would have to tell the story of the solar system. And certainly we'd have to tell the story of the sun and the moon, right? You can't tell the story of that stone at the center of your altar without telling the story of the sun and the moon. And to tell the story of the sun and the moon, we'd have to speak of nebulae and galaxies, right? And to tell the story of galaxies, we'd have to speak about the universe. And to tell the story of the universe, we'd have to speak about the singularity from which it all came. And the singularity was a single point, and yet it was everything all at once. Try to wrap your rational mind around that. Yeah. They describe it so casually, like, yeah, the singularity was everything was like compressed into a tiny little point. Well, that's not really exactly how it is, because that point included space too, from the scientific point of view, right? So that single point was the totality of space. It was everythingness and singularity at once. Dimensionlessness, which the rational mind can't envision. So to tell the story of your object of devotion, to tell the story of your stone at the center, you have to tell the story of the universe that is both infinite and whose center is in every single point. Every single point is a gateway to the heart of the universe. Every single stone, every single branch, it's a gateway, and the only thing that matters is if you take your attention there. You feel what I'm saying? The only thing that matters is if you take your attention there. If you don't take your attention there, then you won't see each point as a gateway to the center of the universe, right? Kind of like drift through this life, going to the next event, right? Oh, what's next? And that's the human tendency anyway. And then we get our phones involved, and it's like, oh, we're sitting enjoying this. These days when you go out to dinner, right? And you're like, are you sitting there enjoying your dinner, or like, are you on your phone talking about something else that's happening somewhere else, right? The ability that human beings have created for ourselves to not be paying attention to these focal points that are the center of the universe, right? Like when I look into my son's eyes, and I get the sense of us being really small, really fleeting beings in the midst of these great movements of nature. But the moment there's that little spark in his eye when he looks back at me, the older one I'm speaking of now, yeah, That when the moment there's that little spark, then it touches the infinite. It opens up into something that's infinite and timeless. And this is what the work with the object of devotion, this is what it's for. It's to be a portal into the infinite. Yeah. Hyper localized in that it is present right here in front of us, comes from land right around us. Yeah. Hyper localized and infinite all at the same time, because every location is the center of the universe. Because how does the old quote go? The universe is an intelligible sphere whose center is everywhere and whose circumference is nowhere. Right? Center is everywhere. If the universe is infinite, where is the center of the universe? Right here. Right here. Yeah. So why can't we just realize this all the time? Why do we need to put a point in front of us and throw ourselves on the ground before it and sing to it? And we need to enact that process that happens in our consciousness of the drift and the coalescence back and the pulse away. We need to enact it. We can't just be like, it can't just stay as a mental exercise. Like, oh, hey, by the way, did you know that the center of the universe is everywhere and all you have to do is take your attention to? Oh, thanks for that. Right? Like, it can't just be a mental exercise. We have to enact the journey back. We have to somatically enact the journey back. And so on the days when the mind is really rushing, anyone ever have those days when the mind is really, anyone ever not have those days? Right? Like, why is the advanced technology of ritual, why does it involve dancing over and over and over again? Why does it involve singing over and over and over again? Right? Why does it involve all of this repetition, this repetitive work to build the heat, to burn through the distractions, to take us into that place where the singularity is a portal to the everything? Yeah, you feel what I mean? We have to enact it. Yeah. So the advanced technology of placing something at the center of our ritual space and shaking a rattle until we go into a zone where that thing at the center becomes a portal and we're taken into connection with the living heart of nature. This is advanced technology that human beings have practiced for at least 300,000 years. At least. Yeah. Sitting there with a rattle. Over and over and over and over and over again. Until the mind stops resisting, going, or the mind trying to find wait, I can't keep up my normal rhythm of thought with this other rhythm from the rattle. This is foiling my entire plan, the mind says, right? It's like, no, I'm going to resist it. I'm going to resist it. Oh, boom, 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 boom. Hey, that beat's kind of catchy. Right? Like, hey, that beat's a little bit catchy. And then the mind, boom, 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 gets entrained to the beat. And pretty soon the portal opens and the single point becomes a gateway into the eternal.